Hi, this is Dee Ray at Aloha Astro, and I would like to talk about the new moon in Libra coming up tomorrow. Today I'm working with some new software that helps me do a screen capture of the screen so you can see what I am looking at. Here we have a basic chart wheel, and this shows us the position of the planets in the heavens right now. Actually, the very wee morning hours of September the 23rd. And we are looking at a new moon approaching on the 24th. I can move this forward by a day by clicking up here. And here we have a difference. If you can see, here is the sun at 1 degree of Libra, and we have the moon at 6 degrees. Now, if we go over here and we move back a couple of hours, we should be able to find the universal time when the moon and the sun are in an exact conjunction. Here we have it just 1 degree apart, and here we are at 1 degree for the sun, 1 degree Libra for the moon. So this is the exact moment of the new moon. Now, this chart wheel here is a solar chart wheel with Aries on the rising. That puts the sun and the moon in the 7th house of this chart. The 7th house is the house that rules relationships, and Libra is the cardinal air sign that rules relationships. It is a Venus-ruled sign, so it has an affinity with beauty, affection, perfection. These are all interests that Libra has because of its affinity with the planet Venus, its rulership. Now, the moon, of course, being new, signals new beginnings for people. And wherever you have Libra energy in your own natal chart, you will be experiencing something new, a new outlook or a new beginning in some area of your life. To some extent, it will probably involve relating. Now, that does not have to be romantic relationship only, although it certainly can be, particularly if you have Libra energy in any of the relating houses that have to do with romance. For instance, the 5th house of a chart, which is naturally ruled by Leo and is indicated down here in this area, this is the 5th house of a chart, that rules romance. So if you have Libra energy in the 5th house, romantic interests may begin for you or be renewed at this time during the new moon. Also, creativity is a 5th house activity. So if you have Libra energy in your 5th house, you would be starting something creative afresh. And that is something that I'm doing with my own website this week. I am attempting to do some more recording, which is something I've put off and stalled on. I'm not great with technology, so bear with me and be patient. Hopefully I can learn how to modify my videos to the least amount of talking and the most amount of information, and that I don't go off on Aquarius tangents and jump around too much, which is something that I am inclined to do. With Mercury in Aquarius, I can kind of get jumpy and flighty, and I have a Gemini rising, so I also have multiple things going on in my mind at one time. Now, I mentioned that this new moon in Libra will be affecting people in terms of relationships. The area that it sits in your chart is determined by your rising sign. And the only way that you can find out your rising sign is to use a free chart service, which you can find either on my own website, there's a link for free charts, or a site like AstroTheme or Astro.com, where you can enter your birth data, and it is your exact location and time of birth that determines your rising sign, or your ascendant as it is called. That is always this point over here in this part of the chart. So your rising sign is what you're going to be looking for to determine where that new moon takes place. And where you will have this symbol over here, this little Libra symbol, is what you will be looking for on the outer edge of your chart wheel. It might not be off to the right here above the descendant line. These are the prominent angles of the chart, the ascendant and the descendant, and these two angles also, but I'm not going to get into a full astrology lesson right now. I just want to point out the importance of your ascendant in determining where you're going to find that Libra new moon in your chart. And it is the location and the time of birth that determines your rising sign or ascendant. So a lot of times people will talk about their sun sign, which is, of course, where the sun was at the time of their birth. But if you notice, you're a whole lot more than your sun. There are many planets within your chart wheel, and we all have these planets within our chart wheel in different places. Where they are has a lot to do with how you express your own individual nature and how you experience life. And the houses, or the areas of the chart that are delineated by these segments around the outer part of the wheel, are what basically colors those houses or areas of life. Even if you are not an Aries rising person with Libra on the descendant, and you have one of the other 12 signs on the ascendant or on the descendant, there will still be an element of Libra energy within your 7th house, and that applies to everybody. That's why sometimes horoscopes, daily horoscopes, can hit the nail on the head at times, but other times they don't. Of course, if your rising sign is Aries, then a daily horoscope is probably going to be fairly accurate for you most of the time. If your rising sign is another sign, then you have to read for your rising sign when you read daily horoscopes, and you will actually be getting the information as it applies to the planets within your own houses, because what we're doing is basically turning this chart wheel around just like a dial or a setting to line it up correctly with where the planets are in your chart, what houses or areas of life are being affected. So, some other Libra issues besides beauty are balance, strategy. Now, strategy is particularly important for Libra, and it can be a time period for us, for everybody, over the next month to be looking at our relationships in terms of balance or equality or compromise. Are we being satisfied? Are we satisfying somebody else? Are we able to be in harmony or balance with them? It can also be a good time for taking control of your life where you may feel out of control or out of balance, and creating a strategy or a plan for gaining more control over your future and over your plans to bring your life into a greater vision of perfection for yourself. Anything that is disturbing to you, that is unnecessary or too ugly or too disturbing, that you've allowed to continue, where maybe you've been taken advantage of, or you've cluttered up your life with things that no longer serve you, let those things go. Give them away to somebody else who might be able to use them or wants them or needs them. Declutter, simplify your life, and surround yourself with things that make you feel at ease or have aesthetic beauty to them. Libra is very concerned with how do things look, how do things sound. It's a very musical sign, so add some more music into your life. Appreciate the beauty around you at this time of the year. Perhaps look at how you can renew or improve your surroundings, and also refresh any relationships that may have gone stale, and bring more beauty or harmony into them consciously. But the perfection of Libra is something that is always in the background of the Libra mind, to make something as perfect as possible. Libra is the only sign that is neither an animal or a person. It's a machine, and it represents the weighing of the two sides. Now, this may be a little bit difficult for a Libra because Libra is a cardinal sign. The cardinal signs are boss-like or initiating. They like to pioneer. They like to tell other people what to do. They like to be the ones to give orders and direct others. Now, when Libra has to decide, it is sometimes down to the elimination of the least likely of two options. And unfortunately, what Libra often wrestles with is the feeling after making a decision that what would have happened if they had chosen the other person or the other job or the other house or the other car. Libra is most comfortable actually holding the thought of the two things in their hands at one time or in their minds at one time. Then as soon as they choose and make that cardinal or executive decision, they suddenly will swing out of balance and very often second guess themselves or realize that they've made a choice. Now they have to live with their decision and follow it through to the end, or see it followed through by somebody else if it's a decision that affects other people, such as putting a plan into motion at work, making a company decision that other workers have to follow through with. So Libra has its own set of difficulties in finding the happiness within themselves while they are with somebody else, whether that's another individual or a larger group of people or a corporation or company that has other people under its name, so that it becomes like a separate entity. And finding the balance and still maintaining sense of self is Libra's particular path in life. So to some extent, all of us, whether we have Libra planets in our chart or not, will be wrestling with some of those Libra issues. Now, what area of life will it affect for you? Well, relationship, number one. Now, will that be romantic or marital or boss and employee or with your friends? It could be a little bit of all of that. But if you have Libra in some particular relating houses like the 5th, the 7th, or the 8th, it may be more profound for you. It may have more to do with the romantic aspect of relating. If Libra happens to be your rising sign, then this is the start of not just a new moon for you, but an entire new cycle in life. This is your new moon of the year, and it sets up like a new year for you, where you may be looking ahead not just at this new month and a new cycle, but a new year and what your plans are for the entire year. So this is a significant new moon for specifically Libras, also for anybody with a Libra rising sign. And all of the air signs, to some extent, are also a little more affected by an air sign new moon because of the harmony or resonance with the air element. So the air signs may feel this more significantly as well. So that's it on the new moon, and if you'd like to find out more about your individual chart, I offer readings, either phone consultations or written reports through my site. I have just integrated a new scheduling option so that you can order directly, see the calendar, choose the dates, times that you want to connect with me, so that we don't have to waste time emailing back and forth. And I'm also beginning to take appointments for a group discussion, because I've had people indicating that they are interested in having some sort of a class or being able to work together as a group, and I'm not quite sure yet how that's going to work out, whether people are going to want to have a scheduled format or a free form type of a thing. I'm inclined to let it happen as it happens when the people get together, are able to look at charts and a screen together, so we're all looking at the same thing, and then share our conversation and our observances as we learn and talk about each other's charts or issues beyond astrology. If that's also an interest, we can definitely do that. So I'm excited about the new things on the site, and I am, intending good things for us and working together, a greater compromise or harmony in how I do business and socially connect with other people, so that you can see my availability and perhaps form deeper relationships where we get to know each other in a more informal way as a group. And I thank you for stopping by, and happy new moon. Write your intentions for the month down, particularly concerning relationships, harmony, strategy, planning, or design for your future over the course of this month. Take care.